Hello everybody. Do you know what? I've just been sitting here and instead of rehearsing as I should have been, I was just watching your comments and the way everybody's saying hello from all these different places in the world. And it is so moving. Thank you all so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. And the banter that's going back and forth, it is just such good fun. Some of you are up at silly o'clock in the morning on the other side of the world. You're from all over the place, and it is just absolutely, completely incredible that you're here. Thank you so much for making Photography Lockdown rock and being up for doing some creative challenges. So, you know, absolutely fabulous. I've been looking at everybody saying, you know, what the weather's like and it's cold or it's rainy in Edinburgh. You know what? It is absolutely boiling down here on the south coast. It's been a beautiful day. I wouldn't say it's boiling. I kind of like warm weather, but I don't know what we've been at, about 25, 26 degrees, I guess. It's a lovely warm day. I wish I was out playing around on motorbikes in it, but there you go. I'm not. So welcome to another Photography Lockdown Live. Let's have a look. I've got a couple of notes here somewhere. I just want to check, make sure everything is good. Yeah, I think they are. I was going to check. I think the audio must be working. Looking at everybody's comments. I'm looking down here at my other laptop. As you know, I'm a digital nomad. I currently have to scrounge internet wherever I can find it because my home and office lives in the country. It's just not fast enough. I'm coming to you this evening from the back room of New Milton Photographic, the Fuji print shop. They do a fabulous job. If you're ever over this way, come in and say hello to Lou and Ian. If you want anything printing, tell them I sent you. They very kindly given me a key to the back of their shop and they're going to allow me to use it for a while because there we go. Little update on that though. I'm actually working on moving. I'm going to be moving because there's more and more of this live stuff going on with webinars and running PLD, so I am going to be moving. So I have got somewhere of my own where we can have everything set up and working. So that all looks good. Thank you, Barb, for letting me know. Does that mean I'm looking good or the stream's looking good? Anyway, sorry, couldn't resist that. Right, let's just close this one down so that, there we go, we're not burning up any speed. So again, welcome. There were some amazing, very powerful, very moving and emotive images that you guys were sharing this time. Some wonderful ideas. Yeah, I was completely overawed by the way you came up with different concepts, different ways of doing things. I loved seeing all the different interpretations of This Is My Hope. Absolutely fabulous. Just to make sure you're aware, we are teamed up with Alabare. I pronounced it wrong in the challenge video, Alabare, not Alabare, to help them in their work supporting homeless, vulnerable and marginalised people. I do like to put a bit of good in the world somewhere. This is their theme. This Is My Hope was their theme. They approached me with it and I thought, why not share it with you guys? If you haven't entered their competition, I would urge you to do so because you're putting a little bit of good back into the world. You do have to make a small donation to them in order to do that. That donation is to them, not to Photography Lockdown. I'll say a bit more about that in a moment. Little bit of confusion. It said on their website that you need to be landscape images. What they mean is a landscape format, an oblong, like the shape of this video viewer, not an upright. The other thing is, of course, for our Photography Lockdown challenges, we only shoot pictures for the challenge. We do not allow archived images that you maybe took last year. If you're going to enter the Alabare competition, you can enter whatever you like. Doesn't matter if you took it 5 years ago, I can find nothing in their rules to say that you can't enter. I am going to be entering myself. They're going to be having an exhibition in Salisbury, which is not far from where I live, and wouldn't it just be amazing to see some PLD's pictures in there? And I will go along, of course, with the video camera and share it with you guys when we know what's occurring with social distancing and all that stuff. Margie Jones, do we have to use the same picture as for our PLD group? No, you don't. No, you don't. As long as it's an interpretation of your theme, This Is My Hope, no, you don't have to use the same picture. Use whatever you like. It's only within our challenge that I insist it's something shot during that 2-week period, 10-day, 2-week period. Because that's how you grow. That's how you flex that creativity muscle. I know some of you guys are struggling with this You know, you're sort of like, well, how on earth do I photograph hope? That's ridiculous. I understand. But if I gave you a concrete thing to photograph, if I was to say, okay, I want you to photograph a starburst coming through the trees, then I've done the creative thinking for you. And that's not very good, is it? I want you guys to think and be creative. And I know that that's a struggle. I say a little bit about it in the next challenge, in the introduction for the next challenge video, so I'm going to shut up about that now. You are right, Noreen. Yes, the Alabari closes on the 3rd of August, so you've got a couple of days over the weekend to get that entered. Phil Saunders, thank you so much. You've entered that twice. That's fantastic. And it's just great to think we can indulge in something we love, like photography, and at the same time maybe just put a bit of good back in the world. I've had some amazing conversations with homeless people and people that you might walk past. I made a TV program years ago when I was working in television, which involved looking at people and noticing the stories we create in our heads about who they are and what they may be. And then when actually you sort of speak to them and find out more about them, it is sometimes quite incredible what we discover. I've had some very moving experiences, just sort of killing time, sitting down and talking to some homeless people and just finding out a little bit more about them. There, but for the grace of God, go. Certainly I and many others of us in some of the stories I've heard, which I'm not going to go into now because I will go off on one of my famous tangents. I think that's everything I needed to talk to you about. Just a quick one, guys. I just want to check, how is it for you within the group using the new album system? Because I think I noticed 1 or 2 pictures were posted into the discussion and not in the album. I know they're not quite so easy to find. If you like it, just please say a quick yes in the comments. I'm just watching them down here. If you find it tricky, difficult, want a discussion about it, just say no, and then if I see a bunch of no's, we'll have a little chat within our own group rather than here. It's just interesting to know. Thank you guys, that's fantastic. Wow, look at you flying in. We got lots of yeses. It's okay, had some hiccups, we got a couple of no's. Yes is a shorter word to type, obviously. Okay, it looks like we have a predominance of yeses. I might put a poll. I know how you like polls in the group. And just sort of ask a couple of questions because, you know, I want to make sure things are good. Final thing, guys, please don't create more albums in the group. I get it. There's a little theme been going on with astrophotography. That's cool. If you want to do that, then by all means make a little album. But please don't just post your own pictures in your own album so there's just 1 or 2 pictures in there which nobody gets to see. Share them on the discussion page, or if a little bunch of you have got together to do a project of your own, by all means, please, please, please do that. I don't want to be the Facebook police. But we are going to have to start looking at, there's so many albums popping up with just 1 or 2 pictures in it. It starts to get a bit messy. So I'm sorry, guys. I am going to be removing those 1 or 2 picture albums. If you want to create something, as I say, do that. But otherwise, just post them to the group, or get a gang of you together if you want to sort of create your own little intergroup challenge, if you like, besides what we're doing. Good. So it looks like the group thing's good. No worries, Tim Nicholson. I'm sorry, I'm still late phoning you. I'm embarrassed now. Right, let's get stuck in. I'm guessing you would like to look at some pictures from this week, see how things are working. I've been too busy talking. I haven't set up my shot. So here we go. Let's get into our first bit of Photography Lockdown Challenge feedback. And here we go. Julie Julie. Sounds like a song by the Undertones. I really like your idea, light at the end of the tunnel. I totally get it. My feedback on it is this is such a difficult exposure to pull off. It is a very tricky exposure because you've got a dark tunnel, you've got a bright end. For me, it's just kind of like our lady walking towards the tunnel is just a little bit lost. It's almost too dark. I think you could have got away with increasing your exposure a little bit so that the end of the tunnel goes a bit brighter and we'd see a little bit more of our lady. I also noticed that the depth of field is shallow. So this end, the brickwork on this end of the bridge and our woman, they're both soft in the shot. Now I don't know if that's a shutter speed thing, a camera shake thing. I don't think it is, because what's going on through the other end of the tunnel we can see clearly. I'm guessing this might have been shot on quite a long lens. The depth of field was shallow and you focused down through the tunnel rather than on the bridge. Maybe you did that on purpose, I don't know. But yeah, great idea, great shot. one little thing, I took the liberty of doing a little tiny mini crop. I hope you don't mind, because I just thought it might work better if we just came in a bit tighter on the woman and the tunnel. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me just switch back and forth for a moment. What do you think? Further out or a bit tighter in? Please, just pop a little comment. Which do you think? It's always interesting. It's surprising what a tiny, tiny tweak to focal length can make, because you can do this in camera just by zooming in just a tiny eeny little bit. You don't have to crop it afterwards like I did here. If you've been on one of my focal length explained webinars, you kind of will have seen how just a minute little change in focal length can make a world of difference. The numbers aren't important, it's what you're seeing through the viewfinder as you change focal length and move yourself a little bit that can make a world of difference. But no, great shot, Julie. I really like it. I forgot to say, guys, at the beginning, as always, I can't talk about all of your images, much as I would love to. I absolutely hate culling away ones that I can't talk about. There are just too many. Please don't take offense. Please don't be hurt. Please don't think your photography is no good if you don't get a mention here. I try and choose images which will be of the most benefit for the most people when doing the feedbacks, from people who are just beginning on this journey to people who are further down the track. Very often, if a picture isn't chosen, it's not because it's bad, it's probably because it's actually pretty good, and there's not a lot I can say other than, I really like this, then what? So I do try to choose ones I can talk about. I was having a meeting with my team last night about doing these smaller focus groups. We're going to call them phototherapy groups with just a small number, 25 people, where you're guaranteed to get feedback, where you are guaranteed to get mentoring. It's not just about lockdown. You can use the photo lockdown challenges, of course, and we can work on your images in there, but we can bring anything to the table in this. Some of you guys may have been in a little testy focus group we did just to see how this might work, but we're working on this. There would obviously be a cost attached to that, because if I'm going to spend a couple of hours a month with you guys on a small group, we do have to make a small charge. But keep you posted. Right, I'm sorry I went off on a tangent, because we need to be looking at beautiful pictures. Your beautiful creativity. Cheryl, I think many of you absolutely adored this picture, as I do. I think it's a lovely shot. My question is, as you know, I look at the picture. I don't read any comments. The description. I look at the picture, and immediately it jumps out as a fabulous picture. But what I'm not getting so much is hope. If anything, I'm sorry, I'm getting slightly the opposite. I think for the reflections challenge, it would be just awesome. I love your use of color, of negative space, your composition, where you position that tree and its reflection in the frame. It is just beautiful. It really is a lovely shot. And I'm sorry, I can't put it further in. I really do think it's a beautiful shot. And I'm guessing it might be in Australia, I'm not sure. But a beautiful shot. I wasn't quite getting hope from it, so I'm pushing you hard, I know, because this is a beautiful picture. That's why I'm pushing you hard. I'm your creativity coach. And so when you come up with a great picture, if I think there's something that can make it even greater, you're going to hate me. Love this one. Moon Pod. I just think it's beautiful. It's a great composition. It's well spotted. The colour of the light on the floor, and that beautiful, in all instances here, cathedral lighting that's going on. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? So why haven't you won? Again, I'm giving you coaching, because you've done a great job. That's a tricky exposure, and you've done a great job. I don't know if you set this up. I don't know if this was something you arranged with a friend, or whether this is a pure grab shot, or a bit of street photography as you saw something or you anticipated a moment and captured it. In that case, brilliant. That's a tricky shot to capture on the run, and to be aware of your surroundings and ready. So what is my criticism? My only criticism, and this is a real harsh one, is If you could have captured that shot a moment earlier, if it's a grab shot, as the guy was walking through this little pool of blue light, the rim light that is going around him, you know, around his head and shoulders would be just a bit stronger. It might come further down his body, and I think that human shape would have just stood out that bit more. That's a really harsh criticism. I get it, I know, but you're good. You can take it, and that's why I am being quite hard here. That, I think, is a great shot. Zombie, Sue Owen. But it's a beautiful shot. Nice one, Moon. Philomena, I love your idea. I really do. I totally get where you're going with this. Hope. You know, what could be more hopeful than a pretty little glade in the woods with a stream? I love those colours in the foreground and the green bushiness. My only thing is, I'm not entirely sure where I'm supposed to look. Now, I don't know about you guys, by all means pop a comment in the chat, but I'm going straight to what looks like a big sort of pool of foam in the foreground, and I don't think it quite works so well. There's one other thing, it's kind of leaning a bit. To me, it's kind of leaning this way a little bit. And I'm being picky on you too, but hey, if I'm your coach and I just sat on the running machine eating donuts with you, I'd be a rubbish coach, wouldn't I? So it seems to be leaning that way a bit, and the eye seems to be drawn to the foam rather than those beautiful colours. What could you do about it? I don't know. I'm sorry, that's a rubbish answer. I don't know. I mean, obviously, just a slight tilt of the camera might have helped with the verticals. I could be wrong here. I might be being wrong here. But it's just a bit busy. It's just a little bit confusing. It's just would be so nice if that bubbly foam wasn't there, but I mean, I don't know whether it's natural or whether it's the rubbish that we chuck in our rivers these days which seems to create this. I don't seem to remember there being so many foamy pools when I was a kid, a long time ago. Great effort, Philomena, really great effort. Just keep going, keep going. We've got another similar shot here from Ian Pritchard. Again, I love, you know, the light. We've got the light coming towards you. You haven't been afraid to shoot against the light, and that's brought all those leaves to life. I like the light just wrapping around the branches of the trees and the shapes. But we've got a similar thing, I think, going on. There are a lot of shapes and colours here, and I like your little path. It's like a little windy, leady-liney sort of a thing, which is taking us off through the composition. But I'm not sure where it's taking us. It's almost like we need something on that path so that it can take us there. Does that make sense? Great shot, Ian. Well exposed, technically, all that stuff, great. Creatively, I just think we need a destination. We're sort of coming through the trees and then now where are we going? So forgive me if I'm being harsh, but I do like it nonetheless. Janet Rowe. Again, another great little moment captured, and wildlife is just the most difficult thing. Just the most difficult thing. It is so hard to get this right. Wildlife is unpredictable. Wildlife photographers, I think, are probably the most patient in all of photography. Landscapers, they're mad crazy patient, but wildlife photographers, wow. So it's a great capture. We've got some nice action. Our problem is birds and wildlife, they're really good at hiding. That's what they do best. And this bird is hiding in its surroundings. I can see we got another goose going on behind. But because the light is coming from kind of very high up and slightly behind you, it's kind of helping the bird blend into the background, which is a shame. And I know, it's a pain in the neck. I get the hope. I totally get your interpretation. But it's kind of like if the light was coming from behind the bird, if it had been taken at a different time of day, if birds hang out here, you could go and hang out there at a different time of day and watch them. Photographing wildlife is all about observation, checking them out, seeing what they do, where they go, what they get up to. There's a fella, oh, I'm so sorry, it's always possible you're watching this, chap in the United States spent an hour or so on Skype with me a few years ago. He's really into photographing wildlife and birds, and he was an expert in these birds. just in birds in general, woodland forest birds. But he was really taking this on, and he took some breathtaking, stunningly beautiful pictures. But he was like super knowledgeable, having observed these birds and seeing what they do. He was building habitats out in the woods behind his house that he knew would attract certain species of bird, but he was putting these habitats in such positions that he knew that in the morning, when maybe they would be waking up and flying out, or in the evening when they'd be coming home to feed their chicks, the sun would be in the right place at the right time of year so that he could be in the right place and get some shots. And it paid off. That's the kind of work level, commitment, if you like, that goes into this. I'm just looking in case you're watching, and I am so sorry if I've forgotten your name again, because this has happened a couple of times. Great job, Janet. Great job. Have another go another day when the light's in a different place. John McCord. This kind of jumped out at me when I first saw it, because I really like it. In all honesty, I'm not sure the big white border does much to help it, but I do like that little bit of growth in the urban environment. I like the way the colours work. But I had to look at it for a little while, because remember, I'm not going to read the description until I've looked at the picture. Before I kind of figured out, was that a tree trunk or not? And then I did eventually figure out it's something man-made, it's something concretey. It's a great shot. My feeling is if you could have kind of maybe come back, given the plant a little more space. It's very, very close to the top. It's sort of like, imagine, here we go, where am I in the thing? Look, look, look. It's kind of like his head's there. Not quite out of the frame, but right on the edge of it. I just think it might have worked a tiny bit better if there was a bit more space. And maybe it just gave us a hint more of what that thing to the right was. But nonetheless, really nice shot. Great shot. And I love your creative concept here. What could be more hopeful than a child blowing a dandelion clock? Great idea, Christy. Lovely, lovely idea. But for me, it doesn't quite work. And there's a couple of things, I think. And that is, light is one. Light is king. Light is the most important thing, apart from you. The number one building block of photography is you and your brilliant brain. The next one is light. Brilliant brain because you're the creative influence behind photography. You need to know a few things about your camera so you can control it, so you can do your exposure, you understand focal lengths and one or two of the gadgets which are really useful, like autofocus modes and stuff like that. And then you need to do the creative stuff. Not lecturing you personally here, that was a thing to the group there, Christy. And you know, I can help anybody with that. Just go get the Ultimate Beginner's Course. Lots of you have done it now, I know, and I love your comments and your kind reviews that you've been sending in. But I promise you, all the camera related stuff and the beginnings of light and composition, it's all in the UBC, Ultimate Beginner's Course. It's ultimate because it's way more than a beginner's course. Very inaptly named. I love your shot, Christy. Couple of things. One, I think if we'd had dandelions flying as opposed to just the clock, because it kind of looks like she's going to kiss it rather than blow it. And I just think it might have worked a bit better if we could have found one where, you know, the little feathery things were blowing away. Another thing which may have worked, and you may have done this, please, I don't know, is possibly if she'd been looking straight to you, straight to camera, and had her dandelion clock and was kind of like, I don't know, it's probably not so good with me doing it, but you get my idea. And possibly again backlight. If you could have had the little seedy things flying and the light behind them, they would really pop and stand out in the picture. Great idea, very hopeful. I like your idea, I like the way you've gone about it. But I think maybe turn towards the camera a bit of backlight, and see if you can get some of those seeds flying, Christy. I'm just looking in case you're there. You might be saying something. He's calling me a rapper. Thank you, Patrick. I don't know about my talent, knows no bounds. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Here is another, I feel, of a similar kind of a thing. Crystal, I think it is. I'm sorry. My poor old bent eyes. I'm not very good at reading. I mean, what is it saying here? Can I see it on this one? Christoph, apologies. Another lovely idea. What could be more hopeful, you know, than a handful of apples being given as a gift? It's almost poetic, you know. It's putting me in mind. I'm reading a book at the moment about the area where I live. It's really historic. It's a historical novel based in fact about the New Forest area, and this is putting me in mind of it, of you know, the harvest, the hopefulness of the harvest time, of picking up the apples and offering a handful of apples to your friend, your parents, whoever, someone dear to you. I think that is such a hopeful, beautiful idea. Really, really well done. The thing that gets me is that dark area to the girl's left on the right of the frame as we're looking at it. It kind of dominates a bit, I think. And again, I think maybe if you could have got, you know, really square on, as opposed to being sort of at a bit of an angle, maybe had you got really straight on, sort of, you know, so it's kind of like this. And I love the way you've cut her head off, by the way. I'm not knocking that at all. It's just the hands and the apples. That is the whole point of this picture, and I get it. I just think maybe if you'd gone straight towards the light, soft, it's gentle, it works. Backlight would be good, but this soft light works just as well. I think it's a really, really lovely shot. Try it again. See if you can give it another go when it's a little bit more square on to the camera. Tim Freed, hello sir. I hope you're well. We spent an hour or so on Skype the other day. I really like this, Tim. I get where you're going with it, and I can understand where the hopefulness comes in. You know, it is a starry sky. What could be more hopeful than a starry sky? Beautiful idea. I just think it's a bit too dark. I think if you could have got there just a tad earlier when the sky had a little hint more of the blue in it, and maybe you could have increased the exposure a bit. I get it, you're limited to a few seconds, or as you start to get movement in the sky, you get the light trails. I just think it's a little bit too dark. And I'm not sure. I like having the guy in it, by the way. I really, really do like that. I really do like having this chap in there. It's just all a little bit too dark. He's almost lost. But nonetheless, great effort. Great effort. Another great effort here from Kenneth Caldwell. What a happy little picture, huh? What a happy, hopeful little picture. It really is. And I do really, really like it. Let's make it bigger on my other laptop. I can see it better. I just had an idea. It's 4 this year now. What a happy little fella. I do like it. To me, it doesn't look as though it's quite sharp. And I know I'm being picky here, but I think that little bit of lost sharpness. And I don't know whether this little fella's got, whether he's been eating something. I don't know. He's so shiny. Maybe it was hot. I don't know. Maybe a quick, cool flannel might have helped. But overall, I kind of like it. I don't know what the shading is on the left side of the picture, where that's coming in from or how. Whether it's like, whether you're kind of doing this round the door frame thing. But it's a great shot nonetheless. Maybe it's a girl. Sorry, Moira. Yeah, quite possible. I'm afraid I'm totally missing the parent gene, despite the fact I've got 4 stepchildren whom I love dearly, and they are just awesome. I'm not very good at this. When people say, how old were they? I go, I don't know about that at all. Sorry. But I do love kids. They're just amazing. Great shot. I just think there's something missing from it. Maybe if you could have got, I love the expression, maybe a little bit of more engagement with you directly could have helped. We've got another thing, it's got such potential. This one of yours, James. Such potential. Kid eating cake, got it all over her face. Absolutely brilliant. Everyone deserves cake, as you say. I do love it. I love your light. You've got your light just right. Everything is technically bang on. You've got very, very soft yet slightly directional light, which just works for this subject so well. I love the chocolatey face. But it's the expression on the face to me. It's kind of like, he, gosh, I'm doing it again, aren't I? I'm probably getting it wrong. Looks kind of bored. Like, now I get it, little kid, it's very unlikely you got them to pose like that. You gave them something to do, or maybe you caught them doing something. I don't know how you went about it. Really great. It is a wonderful image. Indeed, Linda. I don't know what it is. To me, a hopeful kid with cake all over their face, I don't know. I just feel there needs to be laughter in there somewhere. That's all. And again, I'm being harsh with you because you've got it so good. Because technically, your light, your technique, everything is so good. It's just the creative thing. I don't know. Could you have made a duck noise or like that, something like that, to get a reaction? That is often part of it, particularly with kids and animals, by the way. If you're trying to photograph kids, that's animal noises can work well with kids too. You know, if you unexpectedly start going like a little dog, they're kind of like, what are you doing? And you get a little spark of interest. That's just a thought. But it's a great shot, James. It's a great shot. What else have we got here? Yeah, we've got this one. And again, I get the hopefulness in this one, Ian. Beautiful cathedral lighting. Wonderful bit of sky. I'm sorry, my friend. To me, it looks like it's just been a bit overcooked in post-production. I'm guessing you shot a raw file and you've worked on the sky. And you've done a pretty good job on the sky. Unfortunately, it's kind of like dominating everything else, and the hope part, which are those two people in the foreground, are just lost. And it looks to me as though, I don't know, maybe did you darken where they are too? It's almost like, did you try and lose those people by darkening it? Because I think if you'd done the opposite, it would have worked better. If you're here, Ian, by all means, just by all means say something if you wish. But it is such a great shot. It is a classic sunset. It is beautiful, classic cathedral lighting. But we've got this kind of haze along the horizon. I'm guessing you pulled a grad filter down, maybe you brushed it. But it's kind of, you can see it's been done. It's also, part of it is coming over the sea, and then we've got this bright area of sea, and then it suddenly goes dark. There's a band of dark where the people are, and then it goes bright again where the grass is. I think had it been all a little bit more even, it could have just worked better, because it's a great capture, great moment, caught in time. I'm sorry, Steve, I think you're suffering from a similar problem with this one. It's almost like, it's a great spot, you know, and I love the sky, I really, really do, and I like the little river leading to it. But it's almost like, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it looks as though the sky's been a bit overcooked in the post-production. It's almost like the top of the tree in the foreground on the right-hand side of the river is, it looks like it's been darkened. Maybe there's at the top of it, maybe there's a grad filter come down. And it's almost like you've overdone the sky a bit. Something else which I feel, when you're going to include a very, very strong path or leading line in a shot, I think it needs to go somewhere. I think it needs to have a destination. I don't mind that the horizon's in the middle at all. I haven't got a problem with that at all. I know it kind of breaks one of the rules. Interesting concept, breaking rules. But, I don't know, are you on a bridge? Maybe if you could have got down by the water, possibly got your camera just above the water and used a reflection of the water to capture some of the sky, you know, brought in some of the stuff we've done previously, brought in some negative space and some, you know, reflection into this. But I think the biggest problem is the sky looks to me like it's been just a little bit overdone. I'm just looking to see if you left a comment. No, that's cool. Still a great shot. It is. As is this one, Karen. It really caught my eye when I first saw it because I like the simplicity of the colours. Now I'm just looking on my other screen because I want to see, yeah you can, I can see it on mine. This one looks as though you may have fiddled with the colours a bit on this too. And to me it kind of spoils it. That beautiful gradation on the background of oranges, you know, through from a very dark in the top right corner down to a brighter one. It works, but it's got banding in it. And that sort of spoils it to me. I've got no problem with post-production. None at all. None at all. but to me it looks as though maybe you pushed the colours a bit harder than they could cope with, or maybe it was a JPEG and you pushed it a bit hard, because JPEGs don't stand up for that quite so well. By all means, please tell me if I'm wrong. It's a beautiful composition. It's really nice light. It's so delicate, and I also get the hope thing, you know, water and that little delicate flower. That is a good point, Annette. Yes, the banding could be Facebook's compression. I haven't necessarily seen it, but I'm certainly not going to rule that out, in which case I could be being very unjust. That is a good point, Annette. But still, lovely, lovely interpretation of the theme, Karen. Paul Martin. I kind of like this in a lonely, desolate way. I like a desert, you see. I'm rather addicted to travelling in deserts, and I've travelled in a few, I can tell you. But again, I have a similar problem. It's almost like I feel the sky has been darkened a little too much. It's like I can see where it's kind of going over the edge of the hill. Maybe you used a grad filter in camera. By all means, of course, Paul, by all means say something if you're here. But it's a great shot. It's a nice thing. I just feel that there's probably been a little bit too much done in post-production. That's all. But it is a nice shot. And I think it could be brightened up a bit. I know we worry about that bright highlight. If you did shoot a RAW, by the way, and you worked on that in post-production, because it probably wouldn't be quite like this to your eye, you could, of course, use a brush drop the highlights a little tiny bit, and you can then just run the brush all over that bright area, and it won't touch the other tones, because if you're just working with highlights and you put nothing else into that brush, it will just ease those highlights down a bit. Because also, guys, don't forget, I've got Lightroom courses as well. I'm afraid I don't do other software. I don't believe post-production is the place to fix things that were broken, but it is definitely a place where we can make things look natural, because cameras and eyes see things differently. And also, it's a place where we can go too far if we're not careful. So, you know, if you go and have a look at the courses page on my website, you'll find out there's a couple of Lightroom courses there. One to demystify all the tools within it and how you can use it as a workflow tool, because it's brilliant for that. And another about the post-production, the creative side of the post-production. And here we go. And, you know, I've been loving some of these shots. Love it, Emma. I think you guys are awesome. I really do. Do you know what? I have never had a go at this. I've never had a go at this. In all my, since 1993 as a professional photographer, I have never actually shot a Milky Way, apart from the one you eat, the chocolatey one. But that was with an air rifle. It's, I really like it. What am I trying to say about this shot? I think it's a really nicely done shot. I feel the trees are slightly ominous. I like your hope idea of having someone light paint in the peace symbol. I really like that idea. Great bit of creativity. I love that sky. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of sky. Somehow it just feels a little bit heavy for me, and I'm being heavy on you, Emma. Don't take this as a personal criticism or anything. I'm being heavy on you because you've got such a great shot. I just feel it might be improved a bit. I don't know if you could increase the exposure a tiny bit, whether those stars would stand it. I don't know whether you could lift those shadows an teeny bit in Lightroom, or possibly a little bit of light painting onto the trees. I don't know. But it's a nice idea. I like it, and I am being your coach and coaching you hard there. Long story, Jason. Long story. Why would I shoot a Milky Way with an air rifle? My brother put it on a gate post. We grew up on a farm. We were doing stuff. My brother put his Milky Way on a gate post, and just to annoy my brother when he walked over there, I pinged it off with an air gun. What a horrible big brother I am. Elijah. I really like this as well. Another one on the same theme. What can be more hopeful than a sky full of stars? Wonderful. And I do like the light that is being picked up on those trees. I did read what you wrote in the comment later, and you were saying hopefully one day the lights will be on in the hotel as well. I get it. But I still think there's something hopeful. I love the movement in the trees where they just moved in the breeze. That wonderful, wonderful sky. and that bit of foreground light. What is my issue? My issue is I don't know, maybe you couldn't move back a bit, or whether you had a wider angle lens, a shorter focal length. It's just uncomfortable having the bottom of the building cut off against the bottom of the frame, I feel. Perhaps if you'd had a little bit of the bottom of the building, a little bit more space, maybe a little bit to the right of the trees as well, it would have really helped it. But it's a great shot, technically wonderfully well executed, as you know, all of these star shots are. Just feel if you could have got a little bit more of the bottom in, it would have been cool. Just lost the bottom of the hotel missing. Indeed, Christine Monkton. Hello, Christine. You live in my hometown. Another beautiful, hopeful sky full of stars. And I really like the way you have brought a lighthouse into this, Christy. Because what could be more hopeful than a lighthouse? Guiding the ships home safely, keeping them off the rocks. Oh, it's giving me goosebumps. I really, really love that idea. But again, I'm sorry, it looks as though you put a grad filter or something up across the lower left corner of the picture. We got that black thing going on, that black corner. I'm sorry, it kind of really gets it for me. Could it be that, and if you're here, please tell me, could it be that you pulled that and darkened it with a grad filter to try and stop the lighthouse burning out? Again, little tip, if you're using, I don't know about other software because I've only ever used Lightroom, but you could probably do it in Photoshop as well if you've got a raw file. If you just bring the highlights down and then just brush with just the highlights down, it will just affect the highlights and it won't affect the other tones, and you could just pull those highlights down a bit without needing to have that big block of darkness at the bottom. Because I love the fact there's a bit of a tree there, but our tree's disappearing. Steve's just saying, is it me or is it tilted? Possibly. You know what? I don't know. I don't mind too much. You have a point, guys. Question. Who thinks it's okay, they don't mind the tilt? Who thinks they would rather see, you know, the lighthouse a little bit more straight up? Please just pop a, you know, a me or a love it as it is or something. I'm just interested to know, because it's still a great shot. Please don't think I'm ripping it apart and saying it's not. Jules is saying lighthouse a bit straighter. Yeah, tilt is fine. Yeah, to be honest, I'm happy with the tilt myself as well. I don't really have a problem with that. David saying, oh, David. How can the sky be tilted? Yeah. Christine Monkton saying, I have grads, but never use them. Why are they different colour? Great. The grad I'm talking about, Christine, is a grad filter in Lightroom software where you can put the same effect as sliding a grad filter over the lens, but you're doing it in software. There's a bit in my Ultimate Beginner's course, which I think you've done or you've got. Have a recap. It tells you a bit more about grad filters in there. Not a lot, but it does a bit. Anyway, let's move on to another shot, Dan Drummond. Which this is a subject that's really close to my heart. But I feel the shot, I don't know whether it needs something. I'm not sure what it is, but it needs something. Yeah, the plastics and crap people are buying continuously all the time. Yeah, I'm a bit of an eco warrior. I worked on a landfill site back in the 1980s when I used to drive bulldoze and plant equipment and stuff for a living. And it just shocked me the amount of stuff that gets thrown away in just a little country town like the one that I live in, and just imagine that going on all around the world. That was in the 1980s, and now it is 1,000 times worse with plastics. We just buy so many, and you know, I'm kind of proud to say that for the last 20 odd years I have never filled up more than half a black bin liner with rubbish of any sort per week. I'm just kind of careful with it. But yes, back to photography. Off your high horse, Browne. I get it, really get it. I'm just wondering whether if we saw the whole of that circle of the bin, I think because we got almost like a little pyramid going on with the plastic bottles there, Dan, it might work if we had a bit of that top rounded bit. I just think of the bin. I just wonder if it might have worked better. It's quite an interesting looking colours and things going on here. I don't know if you desaturated it. I think possibly, yeah. I think that's the only thing I can come up with. I think if we saw the circle of the bin with the triangle of the bottles, it might have worked better rather than cropping off the top of the bin. And we got another tunnel shot here from Jeff. Hey Jeff. I like your idea. I get it. Again, we've got a journey, we've got a destination. But I'm sorry, my friend, we haven't got the destination. It's kind of like we've got a journey, we've got a tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel. Totally get you thinking. But it's almost like that light is too far away. You shot this with quite a wide angle lens, which is a nice idea. I do like that. I do like that wide angle feeling. But it's made the end of the tunnel so far away. It's like that little dot that you used to get when I was a boy, when your TV screen sort of went ooh and disappeared. And maybe if there was something going on in there, perhaps a slightly longer lens, perhaps if you were closer to the end of the tunnel, it may have worked better. And ideally, for me anyway, a little human figure. But it's a nice idea. You've executed it well. Exposure looks about right to me. Could maybe do with a teeny bit more contrast. That's probably all I can say on that, but it is a really good idea, Jeff. And I really like this one too. I mean, I get the hope oozing out of this, Lisa. I do get the hope oozing out of this one. It's such a sweet picture. And, you know, it's completely cool as far as I'm concerned that the brightness of the doorway is burnt out and they are in silhouette. It is a silhouette shot. It's just lovely. It is. It's just lovely. How could we have made it better? I don't know. I think for me, I'd probably like to have seen less of the floorboards and more of the top of the door, or maybe just pulled back a little bit throughout, you know, just sort of moved back a bit, or shortened the lens a bit if you had a bit of a zoom on there. Because I'd want to see kind of the rectangle of the doorway. I love the light and the shadows on the floor. I think it would have just helped if we could have had that top bit. And I am being picky with you here. I know, I'm being really picky. Perhaps just a fraction of a second later, so that the lady's shoulder isn't, let's do it on that one, then it's the right way around. The lady's shoulder isn't, you know, kind of lining up with the door frame. Now I know, it's kind of like, how do I time this? Burst mode. This is where it's really important to understand those few controls on your camera that you need. Because if you could just very quickly just flick the switch into burst mode when you were going to take this, then you can just, as they're walking out the door, and then you've got the decisive moment caught somewhere in amongst sort of, I don't know, 11 frames or something. And then you've got the absolute perfect one. But I love the angle of the child's head, that trusting, hopeful hand, and can imagine the emotions in what I assume is her parent. I'm just looking. Someone's anxiety, panic attacks, yeah. But it's a beautiful shot, nonetheless. Another great idea here from Kirsten. The lonely swing. There is something lonely about it, but also I find hopeful at the same time. It's something to do with a kid being on a swing. There's something hopeful about that. There's something kind of joyous about it. And I totally get where you're going with this idea. I like the way you've got, you know, technically your exposure's spot on. I like the way you've got as shallow a depth of field, which is just helping to separate the swing seat from the background. I'm sorry, Kirsten, the things that are bugging me are the white table set on the side, which is sort of cut off, the colourful windmill, and what looks like a rock or something against the edge of the frame. They're just too strong and dominating, as well kind of the white wall, but it's those three, the table, the windmill, and that rock. I'm sorry, they're distracting from your subject here. Maybe if you used a longer focal length and a wider aperture. So longer focal length would draw the background up a bit. Wider aperture on a long lens will give you a shallower depth of field. and reshot it that way. Maybe a slightly different angle, so you didn't have all those things going on behind. It's very easy to miss things like that. I do know that. It's just a little bit too busy. But yeah, technically, excuse me, you've done a great job. Sarah Moore, I love this expression. Look at those eyes. You could just fall in there and drown. What a happy, hopeful expression you've captured. I'm sorry, it's just underexposed. Sarah, it's just a bit too dark. Looking at it, for me, it's just a bit too dark. What a cute little girl. But the whole picture, I just feel it needs to be a bit brighter. What I'm looking at on my screens, it's just a bit dull. It's just a bit, needs to have just a little bit more exposure. Maybe half, 3/4 of a stop is probably all it needs. You do need to know how to control your manual exposure, guys, so that the creativity can't flourish until you can make the camera do your bidding. That's what the Ultimate Beginners course is there for. Sarah, forgive me, I don't know if you've done it or not, but go back and if you haven't, then I would urge you to get on board, because I know it's going to help you, and if it doesn't, I'll give you your money back. But everyone who's done it has said it has. And if you're struggling with these things and you've got it or you've done it, practice more. Practice more. Go back to the manual stuff and practice more. And then when you're confronted with a wonderful moment like this, you might think, okay, my camera's likely to get this wrong. I'm going to flip into manual mode, and then I can take control of this because I know I want it brighter than the camera's going to make it. All this is practice. I can take you there. I can tell you how it works really, really easily. But then it has to go over to you a bit. Practice. What else have we got? Wow, we've been going nearly an hour. I can't believe this, and I've still got more to do. Move on, Browne, move on. Joan, yeah. I like where you're going, but again, we're not quite sure where to look. The eye's drawn to this big blue area, sorry, blue and white area of the sky, that bright area of sky. And I like the reflection. I think the contrast range is just too great for the camera to have been able to capture it. I get where you're going, but I just think it's a little bit hard to look at. It's difficult to understand the shot. I don't know if you did any post-production on this. Maybe if you'd waited a moment, just waited a little while till those clouds had moved, so you had far more blue and you had some light coming in through that hole, it would have backlit all those leaves. You'd have had a much, much stronger reflection. And if you were going for the starburst thing that, you know, I was messing about with in the challenge video, I think you'd have been able to get a really great one on the edge of those leaves. A lot of this sort of photography is about waiting for the decisive moment. Speaking of which, I really, really like this shot, Eric. Again, technically, it's great. Really great. I love the choice of black and white. I like the angle it's shot from. We know exactly where we're supposed to look. And I kind of get where you're going. It's like, having read it, yeah, hope, dating, night street photo, great, perfect job. I think maybe you needed to hang out there a little bit longer to try and capture more of a decisive moment. I'm being hard on you, I know, because you're good at it. You've got those technical skills. Let's push it up a bit. The guy who's sort of looking at her in the background, kind of soft, I don't know if he kept walking towards you. If he had, I think you may have got a decisive moment. Had he been to her right, walking towards you, who knows, maybe you'd have got a little moment when they glanced at each other. I don't know. Maybe he might have looked at her. Maybe, I just feel the fact that he's right behind her, just hang around and wait a moment. But great shot, certainly very well executed. It is a really nice shot. Another one beautifully executed by Diane. And do you know what? I love that bright burnt out bit of sky there. It's just like, you know, come on guys, write it in the chat. What song do you think of when you look at that? What piece of classical iconic music, rock music, do you get when you look at this? It's a great shot. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lady who's sure that all that glitters is gold. How fabulous. We've got a really, really strong journey going on here. I totally get it. I totally get it. Beautifully well executed. Great front to back sharpness. I just wonder if we could have had one of those humans who were just about to knock on the pearly gates and get, stamped into heaven. Here you go, mate. You're in. I just think if we'd had maybe somebody a little closer, it would be really cool. And again, I'm being hard on you, Diane, because it is a nice shot. I love, the sky, that brightness at the end of the stairs. You positioned yourself just right to do that. All I can think is, wouldn't it be great if you had a sulky looking child sitting on the step at the bottom going, I'm being picky. I know I'm being picky. I really, really am, because it is a great shot. And I'm just pointing out things which I think you could look out for. Irene Carson. And because I know you, Irene, and I've seen the amazing things you have been doing with street photography, I really like this. It's so atmospheric. It's so atmospheric. It's so kind of, And I get what you're saying, I did read it after I'd looked at it for a while. I hope we get to see the other side of the bridge someday. The human figure, I think, is absolutely brilliant. You've got those wonderful lines taking us to that human figure. Irene, all I'm going to say, and I don't know if you got up super early because you're in Australia, had you got down lower, what do you think, guys? Had you got down lower, then maybe we could have had that little human figure would have just stand out against that brightness of that misty morning, and I think this would have absolutely popped for me. We'd have had all these lines taking us to bam, that little human figure, but they're a little bit slightly lost. I don't know, what do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think it would be better from a slightly lower angle, just so we saw more of that human figure? Because we're on the Sydney Harbour Bridge here. This is a big powerful structure, and that little tiny human being sat down at the bottom. That's what the tall barrier there is to prevent. What? To prevent people from getting lower down. I'm sorry, I'm not quite understanding you there. I kind of went Australian. I went up at the end. I do apologise. Could have been seen as taking the proverbial piss. I just think a slightly lower angle, because then it would have just bending the knees. It would have then put the human shape against the brighter area of the picture. So where are we going next? We have got, I love this one, Dolores. We're seeing a few names that we see quite often at the moment. I love your idea, and I like the earnestness. I'm not getting hope, I'm getting sadness though. What do you guys think? Am I wrong? Well, not wrong. Are you getting the same feeling as me? What I get here is sadness. What I get here is a parting. And maybe that's what this is about, rather than hope. I'm just reading, and foster parents are wonderful people. I know a couple of people who do fostering. It's such a fabulous thing. I don't know. It is a lovely story, but I'm just trying to work directly from the picture rather than the story. And yeah, I know, Karen, there's a certificate which says about certificate of adoption, I know. So maybe this is, I get it, maybe this is a bittersweet sort of a hope. Foster parent is losing the child to a new adoption. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it needs. I think possibly if you could have got a shallower depth of field going into technical photo stuff, it might have helped. Maybe just a little bit more space around them, just to sort of open the shot out a bit, could have helped too. Maybe it's a bittersweet moment. Maybe, I guess, I'm looking for more of a happy hope. But that's just my interpretation. That's just the story going on in my head. And as you unravel these stories, when you look at an image and think about it, you start to see things from different perspectives. You may have seen this happen in a couple of live judgings. I'm looking at this and going, well, actually, there's another way of looking at this, isn't there? It's a bittersweet hope rather than a sadness of parting. Yeah, about trust. I get it. All this sort of thing. yeah, maybe a little bit more space around, maybe a little bit more light, maybe a slightly softer background and put more emphasis on them. I'm not sure what it wants. It's one of those that I'd want to play with and take test shots and just let them interact and play with each other for a while. Maybe the shot had just been set up and they're kind of waiting for you to take the picture. I don't know. I wasn't there. It's very easy to apparently criticize when you're not there. Barb. I like this. I like this idea a lot. For me, there's only one thing that doesn't quite work, and that's the light. Forgive me, I'm being harsh. I just think the light seems to be coming almost directly into the hands. I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know if you used a flash. I'm not sure if you did or not. But I feel that it's a great idea. I kind of like the heart shape, the hands, I love it. And I did read afterwards that, you know, you're having trouble controlling Dad because he wanted to fool around all the time. Backlight, light coming from behind, light coming from the side. I feel it needs shadows, it needs something rather than this rather full-on blast of light which seems to be coming straight into it. But other than that, it's a great idea and I do like it. I do like it. Move on. Again, we've got one here from Iggy. And I like your idea. Yeah, I get it. The hopeful statue. Fantastic. Unfortunate, and I also like the fact you've got a seagull in the sky. I know, I get it. But that big bit of grey sky and the disruption of the bush, it's all just a little bit too much. I'm sorry, my friend, but it is. I'm wondering if you could shoot it from a different angle. Maybe you were trying to capture birds in the sky. Maybe if there were loads of birds in the sky. The other thing is it's very overcast and I can't help but wonder if this would look better again with a little bit more directional light. I think it's worth going back and trying to shoot it another day and try some different angles. You know, we got that light, street light growing out of the bush. We got that other bit of tree in the top sort of right corner. I think there's just a little bit too much going on. Maybe try reshooting it. Don't think that all those amazing pictures that you see so often are just taken in one go. They're not. Very often the photographer has to go back many times to get it to work. Now this one I really like, Dina. But I'm not sure what it is. Guys, tell me in the chat, please. Just you know, what do you think this is? What's going on here? I get it. I also feel hope. You've got these lovely long shadows going to this bit of sun. I've just no idea what's going on here. What are these coily things? Are they springs? What are they? Beautiful, well executed shot, Dina. Tricky exposure. You got it bang on. It's just lovely. I do like it. It's all. I feel like I'm a bit drunk, and I've woken up in the morning, and I'm looking along the floor as the sun's coming up in the bar somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I do like it. It's very unlikely someone's fallen asleep on the floor. Yeah, so unlikely I'll get drunk and fall asleep on the floor because I don't drink. I don't get on very well with alcohol. All my biker mates when I was a teenager, you say in the pub, they go, "Oh, anything with a cherry in it for him." Great shot. I'm not sure what it wants. I'm just not sure what it wants. I get the hope, I get the feeling, and I guess I'm almost giving you a shortlist shout out here in that it's a great shot, and with whatever ingredients you've used, you have also managed, to me, to make something hopeful. It's that light, it's the sunshine. There's something about that sun, that bloody sun, warm and bubbly. It just makes you want to smile. It does me anyway. So yeah. Really nice. Another shot here, which I think was a great idea, Kirsty. I like the way you've done it. I like the way you cut the eyes off, but you haven't quite cut the eyes off. And do you know what? That's what's bugging me. I love it. The kid holding the world. That kid is me. I just used to be lost in National Geographics when I was a kid. I used to stare at, one of those spinny globe things. I don't know if anybody else gets it. Farm machinery in a barn. That's a good point. We're one of those spinny globe things, not a light up one. just spent hours and hours staring at it. And you know, when that picture from the Apollo mission of the blue Earth, I just fell in love with it. I get this picture, and I like the way you've where you've cropped it. I do like the way you've cropped it, but I do feel it and it's kind of angular. You've got a kind of graphic shape, the arms, the way they're holding. I like the way you've used the globe itself as a light source within it. I really do. I really get the hope, and I really, really love the shot. I just feel, again, the camera's just a little bit wonky. I'm being picky. I'm being your coach. It's a little bit wonky. Just feel if we could have had it a bit straighter. And it's just that, I know I'm being picky, that eyelash. I think maybe if we'd taken the eye off completely, I just feel that. I don't mind the bit of straggly hair. I think it's quite nice. What do you think, guys? Please tell me. Pop a few comments in there. This is your show too. What do you think? Because yeah, it's a great concept, Noreen. It's a great shot, Kirsty. I just feel, yeah, little things, just straighten it up a bit. I'm being a coach here. I'm being harsh. I'm being that coach when you're going flat out on the running machine, you know, and the coach goes, "Come on, you can do it better." That's what I'm doing now. I'm not being nasty. Yeah, we haven't exactly got a flurry of comments going on here. But yeah, I get it. I like it. Let's move on. Another really great idea going on here. And I totally get the hope. I totally get the feeling. And this is a shot that is so hard to get right, Gary. So hard. They are such difficult shots. I tried doing this back before when, you know, I used to photograph people's weddings a lot and stuff like that, and then they get me back, oh, we just had some children, can you come in? And they want to do this shot. And I always feel it's so hard to get right without it looking messy somehow. I can't help wondering, maybe if you could have shot from directly above, it might have helped. So you'd have those hands sort of going around and supporting those little baby feet. I think the light's probably a little bit flat and a little bit dark. It's just kind of a little bit too overlappy. It's a really hard shot to get right, and I can't give you a great deal of advice on it, apart from probably a little bit more contrast. And the other thing, of course, is that nappy, that white nappy. It's too strong. It's taking over. It's like, instead of looking at the feet, we go, well, what's that white thing in the corner? It's one of those. I think it may, more of a higher angle, looking down may have helped, something like that. Great idea, though. What else have we got going on here? Oh, here's a lovely idea from Valerie. Because I get this puts a lump in my throat. It really does. I think it's a really great picture. I think it's really powerful. This little child photographing this statue of the soldiers and carrying the wounded on a stretcher. I find it a very, very moving picture. And again, I'm being your coach here. We're on the running machine, and I'm going, yeah, you can do better. It's a light thing. I just feel it's a light thing. It just needs something, maybe a slightly different angle. I find the sky slightly distracting. We still need to see that little child with the phone, and I think that's good. I think maybe the composition a little to the left, so you weren't cutting off so much of the plinth. But I think overall it needed a bit of light, preferably coming towards the camera, so that you had that little boy's shadow coming towards the camera. And I think it would have been really, really powerful. It is such a brilliant idea. I can see you guys agreeing with me when I look down here on the other monitor. It is cute, and it's moving, and it's emotive, and it's hopeful. Fabulous idea. And I think if you had just a little bit to the left, a bit of a shadow coming towards from that little boy, you'd use the shadow as the leading line to take you to him. It would have just brought it to life. Such a great shot. If you ever get the chance to go and have another go at that, Valerie, it would be brilliant. I don't know if you know, I haven't read it, whether you know this little boy or not. Great shot, very powerful. So now we come to our shortlist shout-outs, which are kind of lost because I completely forgot to turn off the background image. But hey, there we go. What a numpty. Let's try again, shall we? Here we go. That's better. So what do we got here? We have got Melport. Another starry sky shot. We're seeing so many of these, and you guys are just doing such a great job. I think this is such a great shot of the Neo comet. Absolutely fabulous. I've watched it at night, and I haven't, I confess, gone out and tried to photograph it, but I have sat there and just watched and just seen it. Mel, I really, really like the way you've done this. I like the way you've... It's so clever. Look at the creative thinking, guys. Just look at this creative thinking. So I'm guessing that's you in the shot, Mel. I'm guessing you fired your camera from a distance on a timer or something like that. You got a longish exposure. But I love the way you have then gone into the shot. You've got your torch. You've done a bit of light painting on the tree. The one behind you, you've just picked up that tree branch. You've just sprayed a tiny bit of light with that torch onto the tree. Little tiny bit onto the trunk on the left. Whether that's by accident or whether by design, it doesn't matter. And the way you painted that little pool of light on the ground, and then held that torch during the exposure, and you've got it just right. So you've got that light beam coming up through the sky to the comet. That is so, so well done. It is a really hopeful image. I had so much pain going through these shortlist shout outs, as always, but you know, it's just a great shot, Mel. Great shot. And George, again, you know, all of you guys, you know by now, shortlist shout outs, all the ones which just jump out and speak to me straight away, I put them into one folder, and then I have to go, I've got to take them out one at a time, and it kills me. Love it, George. George, the work you put into things is astonishing. Any of you guys who've been around here for a while, you will have seen the things that George gets up to, where he's, you know, he does a lot of post-production, but he does it well. He does it really well. I love the way you've got that done, the way you photographed your own arm in so many different poses, in so many different ways, and put this together. It is such an incredibly powerful, hopeful picture. So tricky, so well done. Neo-wise, that's the one, Aurelia. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Yeah, beautifully done, George. Beautifully done. I'm intrigued. You know, you got that, I'm guessing you shot the sun on the edge of those clouds, and you got that bit of flare. I don't know whether you did that in post. It doesn't matter. You've done it very, very well. And you can, nobody, whether you like it or not, you can't ignore this. You see it, you notice it. It's a standout image. And I love this one too, in a totally different way, in a totally different thing. This sort of stuff I find really fascinating, Sandra. Great bit of street photography. I don't know, did he do that naturally? Did you coerce him? But I don't know, yeah, he has got a kind of hopeful look. I like the way you've been brave enough to just let that background blow out. I know our eyes go to the brightest area of the picture, but nonetheless, it's just such a great story, sort of telling picture. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. It is inspirational, Ken. You're absolutely right. It's great. It's absolutely great. And I wonder, did you sit down and have a chat with him when before or after doing your shot, Sandra? I've found some homeless people to be some really interesting folk when you get them talking. I've learnt a lot. I don't want to go there. I want to tell you a story, and I'm not going to because now is not the time. Beautiful job, well done. And another. This is Mel's wife, Emma. How can you not see hope in those great big brown eyes? Now, I'm not a pet puppy sort of a portrait sort of a guy, but it's just, look at it. It's just funny, it's happy, it's hopeful. Are you going to take me for a walk? Are you going to give me a biscuit? Are you giving me a treat? I don't know what it is. But I just think it's just great. It's just great. It's such a cute picture. Really well done, Em. Really well done. You have captured a little piece of your dog's spirit there somehow. Yep, Mel's wife, Lorraine. Mel is a Melvin. What else have we got here? This, I think, is really great too. Carl, I really like this. I think your lighting is brilliant. I like your composition. It's kind of edgy. I like your sense of humour. Can't help but hope is everyone now is familiar with the proper way to wear a face mask. I do. I just think it's kind of funny. I like your light. I like the way you've been unafraid to use some quite hard light, which is side lighting your face in a very powerful way, and yet your whatever it is, your sort of a bird, you know, is. I just think it's fun. I think it's well executed. It's eye-catching, and so I just had to look at it. It's just fun with a serious message, Moira. Exactly. Mr. Cadbury's parrot. Oh, what was that? There was a Bonzo Dog Doodah song, wasn't there? Mr. Slater's parrot. What else have we got here in my shout-outs? Again, another one which I just love this. I love the composition you did here, David Cunningham. David Cunningham, have we seen you in here twice? I just love it. I really do. I love the composition. I like the light. I like that little face. I like the path. It's like he's already been on a little journey and he's got another one ahead of him. I think you've done a great story here. I just think it is really nicely done. Forgive me turning my head to you. It's just the only way I can have my other laptop, which, look, I'm just proving I'm not making it up. There's the other laptop. I just haven't got a table up that height to put it. Yeah, beautifully done, David. What more can I say? I loved it. It caught my attention straight away. It's a bit of me. I like the way, I like the light, the way it's moulding on his face. There's something moody about it, and I like it. Yeah, what more can I say? Another one which I loved here, Eastern Smile. What could be more hopeful than a bird soaring in the sky with that beautiful bit of light coming through the clouds? I just do love it. It just makes me feel happy. What does it make you feel, guys? What do you feel when you look at this? What sort of a sense? What do you feel when you look at this? Please, please, please pop a few comments in. I want to know, what do you feel when you look at this? What is it? It's like peace, yeah, free as a bird, hopeful and free, Nan. Care Bears? I guess I don't know. Yeah, breath of fresh, it's freedom, isn't it? It's freedom. I'm seeing lots of freedoms pop up here. It's freedom, isn't it? Short and simple. It's freedom. A bird soaring in the sky, in that beautiful sky. It's freedom, and it caught my eye straight away. Beautiful shot, beautifully well done. Another beautiful shot. Oh boy, it killed me taking this one out. Matthew, it's like you've broken a bunch of rules and done it wonderfully. The olive branch. What could be more of a sign of hope than handing someone the olive branch? Making friends. What a wonderful thing. That beautiful light and that beautiful lens flare, which you have been unafraid to use as a creative tool. A lot of people shy away from it, but it just, to me, it just brings so much to this. It just brings so much excitement and hope. It doesn't need to be contrasty. The softness is what gives it its power, and all that beautiful bokeh lens flare stuff going on. It's just gorgeous. Matthew, wonderful shot. I'm sorry, my friend. It just killed me taking it out of the fold. It killed me taking them all out, but another one that killed me, Sharon. Totally different feeling, but again, it's this crazy light, and there's something about it. You know, the dandelion has sort of flown, the seeds have gone, and I don't know, but I still get something hopeful, and it's the light that's doing it. Light is your friend, guys. Light is the number 2 building block of photography. Those of you who've done my 7 building blocks, you know this. Number 1, you and your brilliant brain, because you are the creative driving force. Number 2, light, because light just creates mood and atmosphere and feeling and excitement and all that good stuff. And this just does it. I really, really like this, Sharon. The way you've got the light just on the corner again, you've got lens flare going on, and to me that's exciting. You haven't been afraid to let some of those highlights burn out. I don't have a problem with a burnout highlight if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, this one works. Beautiful shot, beautiful shot. I don't know, is it a black and white? Is it a colour? I think there's a bit of blue going on in there, Yvonne. It could be a bit cold. To me it is a little bit bluey, but to me again I find it works. And this to me is such a simple but hopeful picture. I just think it's wonderful, Luca. What can be more hopeful than a new day when the sun's just coming through that chink in the curtain? I just love it. It's so simple. It's so simple, and to me it just creates this fabulous sort of feeling to me of waking up on a sunny morning. You know, you're there and you just feel that bit of light on your eyes. Oh, you wake up. It's early in the morning, it's summertime, and the light's coming through the curtain. You've got a wonderful new day waiting for you. That's what I feel. I don't know what you feel. Please, please, please tell me if you can do it in less words than me. I am much too wordy. I just think it's a great, simple, but very powerfully effective picture, which to me says hope. If you're one of the guys who's been struggling with these concepts, maybe you're watching, maybe you haven't watched, because I can see our numbers have dropped off quite a lot in the last week or so, and they're down quite a lot on what we usually have on a live. It's like, this is all this creative thinking. It's like, how do you portray hope? I hope you have watched this and listened to some of this, and you haven't kind of turned your back on it, because it's easy to do it when you think, oh, we'll learn nonsense. But you know, there's always more we can all learn from each other all the time. And this is about creativity, not cameras, not lenses, not settings, not likes, not winning, not losing. It's all the rest of it. Anyway, moving swiftly on to our runners up in the PLD Hope Challenge. You guys have all won places on webinars. Emma will probably be in touch with you. If not, ping Emma a message through the group. Just ping us a message, and you know, you can choose a place on one of our webinars. This one, I just love it, Hayley. It just caught my eye. I'm not really a landscape photography person, but it's just, I am a morning person, and to me it just spoke of a beautiful, it feels cool. I don't mean cool as in, yeah man, I mean the temperature, it's cool, and it's going to turn into a hot day as that mist in the valley burns off, as the sun climbs higher. I feel an excitement of a new day and a new morning, and I just think it is indeed gorgeous, as Karen Coles just said. Beautiful light, beautifully well captured. It's yeah, I just think it's a great shot. I really do. So yeah, this is golden hour in the morning. Beautifully done, Hayley. What more can I say? What more can I say? And I think there's so much hope. It's just oozing out of this one. Becca, what a fantastic picture. What a fantastic picture. So much fun and hope and possibility for the future. Look at these kids. Look at the possibility in them. Look at the mischievous excitement going on. I don't know what you were doing. I don't know what was happening. They're just so engaged. They're just having such a fantastic, fantastic time. And I just love this. I just totally love this. Beautifully done, Becca. Beautifully done. It just makes me happy and happy and happy every time I look at it. This picture is just oozing with possibilities for the future. I just want to be one of those kids. I just want to be one of those kids. It's just fantastic. Very, very different kind of a style of image going on here from Linda Windsor. Totally different, you know, but again, it just caught me. It's so simple. We're building on themes, you know, that we've covered over the past weeks. We've got negative space going on, we've got reflections going on, all sorts of stuff. It's such a simple and somehow such a hopeful picture. A flower in a bottle. on a beautiful still lake with that reflection of the sky. There is just hope there. And to me, there is a curiosity and a story. I'm just putting my interpretation. You guys may have your own. You might be thinking, bullshit, Browne, you're just making this crap up as you go along. Of course I am. That's what we all do when we look at things. These are the stories and emotions they provoke in me. I'm not saying they're real. They're just bits of neuron electrical current blowing about in my mind. But this picture is making them do the blowing. They'll be different for you. Yeah, I just love it. I can see that on the wall. I'd love that on the wall in my place. I think it's gorgeous. I'm getting it's gorgeous. And it's interesting as well. It's like, you know, I'm seeing other people's interpretations coming in. You know, a couple of you think very, very differently. But, you know, that's the cool thing with this, isn't it? That's the cool thing with this. And I think this one as well, I love it. Tons of hope. Dawn. I really like this. I really do. I like the softness. I like the gentleness. Can almost feel sort of, you know, the love. I like the way you have used the bright part of the picture to bring us in. It's was it Da Vinci or Angelo did the hands, you know, the bzz thing. I can't remember. That's what it makes me feel. I just think it's a tremendously simple but very well executed picture. Really nicely done. I like the way you've used the light. I like the way you've done all of it. Congratulations. I love it. It is in the album, so I promise you, because I've only looked in the album, I haven't been down the page. Guys, you must post in the albums because I don't go down the page. It just takes too long. Yeah. Beautifully done. And this one, oof, I just so like that. I really do. Martine, I think you've done a great job with that. I just so like it. I just like, you know, what could be more fun, more hopeful, more playful? Do any of you guys remember being a kid and tipping water over your head on a hot day and just having fun? I really get it, and I like it, and I like the light. It's peculiar light. It's very strange light, but it works. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how it's happening. It's great. I really love it. You're very welcome, Dawn. I just thought it was a great picture. It just moved me. Yeah, I think it's great. So, I love this little kid. And the other thing, guys, I don't know, what do you think? You may not like this picture, but I did notice in the comments this was taken on a phone. Cameras don't take pictures. People take pictures. And that's the way it is, as far as I know, and I take it. And this week's winner, this fortnight, this 2 weeks winner, this whatever this time period is called, winner. To me, there was only one, because I got this picture immediately. There was no hesitation, none at all. The second I saw it, I just got what this picture was about. There was certainly no need to do anything, and I got possibility and hope and love and excitement. And you may not get it, but for me, it just did it. It just did it. I know we know exactly what's going on here, and we get happiness, we get a bittersweet happiness, we get joy, we get so much hope. I love this girl's expression and the way Mum is just looking straight into you. You're just facing it head on, and I'm getting emotional. I just love it. I just love it. I really do. I just think it's a fantastic picture. It just got to me, as you can see. It just immediately got to me. I think it's a beautifully done picture, and all my love to both the people in it as well. So there we go. You want to place on a course, I think. I'm a bit rubbish, aren't I? I don't remember things. I think the light in this picture is gorgeous. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the picture. Why do I like the picture? Not just the emotion. The light's great. Not just the expression. It's just well executed. The angles, the simplicity. We got perfect, great lighting, simple background, nothing distracting from what it's about. I just think it's a really nice picture. Beautifully done. So, let's have a little look here. We kind of come to the end of this little judging feedback event, and if you didn't get your picture talked about, please do not take it personally. It is what it is, and I've tried to talk about whatever I think will be of the most value to the group. As a group, the point of this is creativity, not kit, not cameras, not gadgets, not how to use it, not settings, none of that stuff. It's about creativity. A couple of people I saw posting comments, you know, like, I don't get it, I don't understand. I understand that. We all have our own interpretation. What I would say is spend a moment looking at some of the pictures that, if you're someone who has that feeling, spend a moment looking at some of the pictures you find more challenging, ones you don't understand. And maybe see if you get anything come through. Empty your mind of your own thoughts and criticisms and how you may have done it differently. And try just sort of looking and seeing what comes into your mind. Years ago, I was trained actually as an introduction leader for a very large global personal development training company. Years ago, we did an exercise where we had to stand at the front of this big room, and you're looking out, and there's all this sea of faces of people in front of you. No sound, no talking. One row at a time, we come up onto the stage, we look out, and we had to look at all the faces. Now, some faces we're drawn to, aren't we? Some things we're drawn to. We just look. And we go, oh, I like that, you know, and you see some faces and you kind of want to go, hi, I like you. And then there's other faces, isn't there? Ones that your gaze just wants to slide off. You just want to move on. Don't know why. And the exercise was, whenever you find a face like that, stop and go back to it and look at that person and stay with that person and think, what is that provoking in me? And why don't I want to stay there? And I don't know why I thought back to that in this instant. This isn't rehearsed. But I'm just thinking there may be some value in that. If you're struggling with the concepts of some things, try it. Just try looking at some pictures. Just humour me. Just spend, you know, a few minutes and just look at it and empty your mind and see what comes up. What comes up might just be, nah, I think it's crap. And that's fine. This is your opinion. It's totally valid and 100% worth it. So, if anyone has got any questions, if anyone's got anything you want to ask or say, then I'm here. I usually ask you questions along the way, don't I? And I'm sorry I haven't this time. I've kind of bulldozed on. I'm in a more relaxed space because I've got a quiet place without interruptions where I'm not afraid a dog's going to bark or something like that tonight. So it's much nicer. If anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to hang out with you just for a minute or two. If not, then we can all wish each other a very pleasant good night or good morning or good afternoon. And the next challenge will go out very, very shortly. I think some of you are going to find this one challenging too. As a group, yeah, I'm going to come and have a little chat to you sometime probably next week if I can. I just want to give you guys in the group updated. This isn't the platform to have that conversation. But thank you all for being here. I'm not seeing any questions arrive, so I'm going to say good night to you all. Wonderful job. And I look forward to seeing you come up with what you come up with the next challenge. Thank you all for being here. Take care.